Okay, guys, I am going to be talking about a little something different in this video. Um, Now this is something, I wasn't sure if I wanted to kind of discuss or not, but I think I kind of want to throw in my opinion here. Now, as you guys know, I don't normally get into, like, politic territories, and this one is kind of big. But I feel like this is kind of a very big thing. But we have the government that shut down and all that, and I kind of want to talk about my thoughts on this and whatnot. To talk about my thoughts on it. Also, I want to talk about not just my thoughts on this, but also kind of where like possibly the future will go with this stuff. Um, but if you guys haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 1K subs. And if you guys don't, like me talking about this stuff, well, that's fine. You guys can click off the video. Because I do reviews and all that, and I know people are very controversial on this stuff. But I really do want to talk about this. You guys can also follow me on Instagram, slash, threads, and then you can follow me on X too. Now, I'll still probably count this as a news related video, but yeah, I really was kind of going back and forth on wanting to talk about this, but I think this is probably a big thing to kind of talk about here, and that is because this right here on the government shutting down is probably going to cause some problems. Now, people are immediately blaming people who voted for Trump and all that. In reality, though, yeah, Trump is part of this, but a lot of this is also the freaking, the state the country is in right now. I mean, even before, COVID, this stuff has happened. People going back and forth, people fighting, and, the higher ups and all doing all this stuff, it's very hard to kind of make decisions, because a lot of stuff, President Trump, or any president, that matter, like, even President Biden, when he was in the president and all that, all these presidents can make laws, but a lot of them have to get passed, through, Congress and all that, it's all this complicated stuff, and, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna cause some things to go up in price. Now, that was one of the reasons why I said I voted for Trump, because I'm like, I wanted prices to kind of go back down. Because a lot of people are saying, like, blaming him and saying, like, if Kamala Harris got voted and, that, prices would have gone back down. I don't think they would have because, you know, she was kind of blabbering on about how the economy was better under her and Biden, and it was not because a box of lasagna was like $22. I'm not kidding. Like it was like, I mean, it was still expensive, but it was going up and up. For food like that, going to $22. And then also milk was going up. It was almost $6, and then the same thing with cereal. It was getting to the point where I mean, there are still some places cereal is expensive, but that's to be expected. But crap was just getting expensive, and food is going back down a little bit. I will say that, but I do think that this stuff might cause some things to go back up a little bit, depending on how long some of this stuff is shut down, but again, I'm like, again, it's gonna happen, like, and I mean, that's the thing too, like, when we got Democrats and Republicans going at it with each other, it's going to happen. Like, I didn't even want to I told you guys, I didn't even want to vote at all. Like, I really didn't want to vote at all. I only did that to get my dad off my back. And I'm not even really living with him anymore anyway, because I've had some problems with that. But, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of, we're kind of in the state right now where it kind of doesn't really matter a bunch who's in charge, but I will say, yeah, prices were better under, Trump before, and yeah, food is going back down and all that. A lot of things, though, are still expensive. I'm not gonna say they're not, but I'm not gonna pretend like stuff's going up and, like, up either, because some of it, yeah, it's going back down. It's definitely not where it was, like, when Obama, and George W. Bush were in office, but it definitely is not even as close to as bad as it was, when Biden was in office, and, I'm not even making stuff up, I'm, like, stating facts. Like, we literally, have gone to the store and all, and saw that stuff. And, I mean, yeah, the people are gonna say they're blaming the shutdowns on it and Trump, and yeah, Trump, should have handled COVID better, but let's be fair here. I mean, they shut it down, because they wanted to keep the virus from spreading, and, and all that, and, like, Trump should have probably done things better with the businesses and all that had to be forced to shut down. But in some cases, some states were forced to shut them down and had to stay shut down while others got to open it back up. So it's a little bit more complicated. Like I said, that's kind of why I don't really get into this stuff too much, because you can see how complicated it is. But the thing is too, with the government shutting down too, and we've also had problems too where we with everything kind of getting online and stuff too, it might affect some stuff too. Heck, just a few days ago, we had freaking somebody hacked the internet. A lot of websites were shut down or weren't working right, and people couldn't get things to work and all that too, and I'm not saying with the government shutting down, that could happen too, That can happen too, like I said, it could happen, like, where they could shut down a lot of websites too. I don't know, it's very, very, all over the place. Like I said, I don't normally get involved with this stuff, but I'm just stating that I think it is going to cause, some things to go up. And I just want to show people that I will admit when I'm, wrong with some stuff, but I'm not gonna say I regret. Well, I mean, I regret probably. I regret kind of voting in general, because I don't really want to get involved with politics at all. But I won't regret my decision on who I voted for. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm like just. But I do see people on freaking other platforms, like, threatening, this guy and all that, saying they wish he would die and this and that. I'm like, these people are just freaking crazy. Like, I mean, I don't like Trump. I don't like Kamala Harris. I don't like Biden. I don't really like a lot of these higher ups. But I wouldn't even wish they were dead or anything. That's a bit much, But again, that's kind of why too I don't get into politics a bunch either, because I don't want to because then you get kind of obsessive and all that. But yeah, I do think, like I said, I do think this is going to probably cause a little bit of problems. But I don't think it's gonna be severe. Like, I don't think people are overreacting a bit. Like, I think it's gonna cause problems, yes. But the government has shut down before, and they've said that it's longer this time, but also we as humans have dealt with COVID and all that, so I don't know, I think we'll probably be fine. And you may be thinking, well, what has COVID got to do with, the government shutting down? Well, it's kind of like that with, because because the government helps pay for some stuff. Schools, it pays for schools and all that, and that's how it was with that's how it was kind of with COVID, but it was items instead. Sorry, I didn't know my mom was home. Yep. She's actually, speaking of school, she's got Magnolia, like my little sister, on at home too. Working at home on the computer with school. So, yep. But yeah, I don't really have a lot else to say about this stuff. We'll just have to wait and play and see. But I don't think it's gonna be super bad. But there might be some problems. But anywho, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.